Hello, Knights fans. Back with this week's edition of the Knights Baseball Roundup with Coach Gary Puccio. Coach, you had a nice win yesterday at St. Peter's, but first let's look back at the weekend series at Bryant. 3 games that were, they kind of controlled the tempo, and then Sunday you had a chance to get the final game there. Obviously, it was a heartbreaker for the team. You had a lead there in the 9th, and then they had the walk-off home run. Just let's talk about that whole series.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of hammered us for the most part. And then Sunday we did a great job. Corey pitched well. I think we were down 5-3, came back and tied, and then took the lead in the top of the 9th. And then bottom of the 9th, 2 out, nobody on, 2 strikes on a hitter. He hits a little blooper, gets on base, and Jimmy tied his homers in the game for Bryant. Just the way things have been going for us this year, it just seems like, we're a little snake bit. We get opportunities, and we seem to find a way to not get them into the win column. At the same time, we've been very competitive in a lot of the games and almost all the games. So, it's a freshman learning curve, different things happening. We've only played 9 home games all year out of 35. I mean, that's rough, and I think we're 7-2 at home, something like that. So hopefully we're coming home now for the next couple of weeks, and let's hope it's enough to get us where we want to be.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably nice to see your team rebound yesterday. You had the tough series at Bryant, but they came back, played a St. Peter's team that's obviously scuffling this season, but you put 25 runs on the board, a lot of big contributors up and down the lineup. How nice was it to see your team break out and not having any kind of lingering effects from the Bryant series?
Yeah, they definitely came out smoking. I think we had 9 runs with 1 out in the first inning, so, I mean, that was pretty impressive that the entire lineup just hit. A lot of great moments. I mean, Matty McCann is on the verge of 200 hits. He'll be the 5th player in the history of the program to reach that. I think Logan's 3 strikeouts away now from 200 strikeouts. A lot of Matty over the weekend set the stolen base record. So a lot of good things to have. These guys have been great players here for the 4 years they've played here. They've won more games than probably almost any 4-year stretch since back in the 80s. So it says a lot about the talent that we have here and the kind of players they've been. So, hopefully we get them to go out on a high note.
Yeah, you mentioned Matt McCann breaking the stolen base record against Bryant there with 2 in that final game. Now it's 72 for his career, which is now the all-time leader. He also set a single game, for him at least, his single game RBI record with 5 yesterday against St. Peter's. And at Monday's awards banquet, he was given the George Braun Alumni Leadership Award for all the stuff he does, not only on the field, but in the locker room with his teammates and in the classroom and everything like that. Talk a little bit about, obviously, he's a senior leader on this team, but just from your standpoint of seeing him receive that award and everything he's done.
Yeah, I mean, I got 4 very special seniors. They've been terrific through their careers here. And, Danny's only played here 2 years, but he's left his mark. He's been a big plus for us this year pitching. I mean, Ryan Brennan's a stud hitter, has been from day one. Logan's all-time innings pitch leader, and he's my winningest pitcher at FDU. He's 15 wins in his career here, which is 5th all-time and the most I've had by anybody here. And of course, Matty's the glue. Matty's the heart and soul of the program. He has been for the last few years. He's a terrific shortstop, a terrific kid. He deserved that leadership award. He's just a standout. He's had a phenomenal year. I mean, he's still hitting 400 this late into the season. It's unheard of. And 199 lifetime hits. I mean, he's about to join a very exclusive club. And we've been very lucky to have him as our shortstop for the last 4 years.
Yeah, and kind of sticking with Matt, now from a more of a baseball strategic standpoint, obviously he's had a great success stealing bases for you. What do you think makes him so successful? Is it his speed, or is it his ability to read pitchers and get a jump, or?
To be honest, I think he works at it. I think you can't come out here and drive by this field every day without seeing Matt on the field at some point during the day, whether he's hitting off a tee, working in the cage, doing sprints, working on his breaks from first. I mean, this is a kid that works at his skills, and that's why he's turned himself into the player he is. And he's one heck of a baseball player. I know there's a lot of pro teams that have been talking to me about him. The kid runs like a 6'3". I mean, he's got everything going for him. His size a little bit on the short side. That might be one drawback that they might have. But when you're a middle infielder, you can get away with that. And I think he makes up for it with his speed and his power and the way he plays the game. And he's just an outstanding young man. Like I said, he's been a major reason why we've been successful the last few years.
And a big talking point this season has been the pitching staff looking to get a lot of consistency out of not only your starting staff, but your bullpen as well. You've seen some bright spots over the last couple of days from 2 freshmen. Jake Sherrata gave you some quality work there at Bryant with 2 scoreless innings. Bobby Ramsey stepped in yesterday and gave you 3, picked up his first save in kind of a unique situation there. But coming into the home stretch, how important is it to start seeing some more contributions from some guys that really haven't been talked about mostly this season?
Yeah, I mean, I always say it's about the freshmen getting on the learning curve, and it just took a little longer this year. But Jake had a terrific outing against Bryant, kept us in that game. He did a super job, and he's come along. I think Jake's going to be a big plus for us as the years go on. I think he's got it in him to be successful. Bobby also threw 2 shutout innings against Bryant, 1 inning on 2 different days, and then threw 3 shutout innings yesterday at St. Peter's. The same thing, he's starting to find a strike zone. That was the biggest problem these guys had early in the season, was finding a strike zone, and they're doing a much better job of that. And hopefully, like I said, between playing home and them getting better at what they're doing, hopefully there's still good things ahead. The season's not over. We're in it, and we're in it with 3 weeks to go. When I came here, that was one of my pledges to the alumni. I said, I can't promise you we'll be in the playoffs every year. I'll promise you we'll be a playoff contender every year. And except for 1 year, I've been pretty good about that. And, not me, but, the team, that the guys have lived up to that reputation of being a successful ball club.
Yeah, and you touched on it right there, right in the hunt. You have the 4th spot right now, but you're up about a half a game on Wagner with them coming in here this weekend. And you mentioned before, 7-2 at home. You'll get 2 weekends in a row here. You get Wagner, then you get LIU Brooklyn before closing up at Central on the road. How important, obviously, are these 2 series to really get that going and to defend your home field and try to solidify that playoff spot?
My line always, and I say this all the time, win at home and split on the road. And, we obviously didn't do a good job the last 2 weekends split on the road. We did win the Wagner series, so I think it was something like 3-5 on the road, 3-6 on the road. Okay, so I would have liked to have been 1 game better than that. But at home so far in the league, I think we're 5-1. So, it's right about, when you add that up, it's right about where you expect to be. So, God willing, we do what we have to do. We're home, win the last 2 home series. Figure that gives you 5 more wins. That gives you 12. You play Central. If we get 1 more win, that puts us at 500. So somebody that'll be better than 500 to beat us out. As the league's shaping up and the league's settling down towards the end, it's basically going to be a battle between Wagner, us, and Long Island University for that last playoff spot. It's pretty safe to assume Central and Bryant are in. Sacred Heart's pretty close to being in. So it's going to come down to those 3 guys battling for 1 spot, and it comes out to who does the better job the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely some big weeks ahead here. A lot of baseball left to be played. One of the big events coming up for you prior to the game against Wagner on Saturday, I know it's an event that's near and dear to you. It's the Alumni Spring Reunion, which will take place Saturday morning. Talk about that event and the importance of it and just the day in general.
Yeah, the alumni here have been great. I've said they're the best alumni association I've ever worked with since my days as a head college coach. This Saturday we honor, we have our annual Spring Alumni Day. It's a reunion. A lot of the alumni are coming. We try to honor our alumni who are sponsors to our players with our Adopt a Player program. So there's also more than just the alumni. There's a couple of guys who are sponsors that are not baseball alumni, but integral parts of our program over the years. So it should be a good day. It's a 11 o'clock brunch up in the Stratus Lounge in the Rothman Center for the alums and their sponsors and the players. And then we got a 1 o'clock game. We'll have a ceremony somewhere around 12:40 or so, and introduce all the sponsors and alumni that are here in attendance. So it should be a good day. It's always a nice day. It's good to see the alums. They've been supportive. We know it's been a rough year. We know, realize we also bit off a lot playing St. John's and Xavier. We built a schedule that something like 10 of our games were against top 100 teams, and we thought we were ready, and obviously I guess we weren't ready, so I got to take the blame for that. But hopefully, this what it's about is making the playoffs, and hopefully they'll be out here having a good time at the spring reunion and then rooting us on to victory.
Yeah, it could be an exciting weekend. Should be a great event regardless for everything. So, like Coach said, Saturday, that'll be the big alumni event. The series begins on Friday against Wagner. We'll play a major role in to see how the playoff season shakes out here. The Knights will host Wagner at 3 o'clock on Friday. Then Saturday, there'll be a single game at 1 o'clock. And then Sunday, the series will conclude. For all information about the FDU baseball team, this week's schedule, and everything else, head to FDUKnights.com.